Hi, I'm Tom Laux, Communications Director for the City of Marshfield, and today I have my guest, Lori Belangi. Thank you for joining me.
Thank you.
And Library Director here.
Yeah.
And you really only have a few more months left before retirement.
Not too long. I'm not counting down yet,
No.
but we're getting there. Last state annual report. Yes. That's a good thing.
Yeah, definitely. Well, we're going to miss you, but we hope you come back from time to time later on in the summer and the fall. But we want you to enjoy your retirement. But first, we still have a lot of activities to go through in the month of March.
Well, one of the first programs in March we have coming up is in the Spoken History series. That'll be on March 2nd at 6 p.m. And our guest that night will be Ted Jacken from the Brems Funeral Home, and he's going to be talking about funeral home traditions and just changes in funeral etiquette and how things happen. So he'll be doing that at 6 o'clock on March 2nd, and it'll be upstairs in the Felk Room as the others have been. And then also on the 2nd we have, no, I take that back. I'm sorry. On the 4th, we have a couple of things going on. We have two different events. One is Earth Watch, which is it's a monthly program. They read a chapter or two out of a Sand County Almanac, and then they talk about the principles that are brought up in the chapter, and then ideas of how that could be implemented in the community. And then there's another one, same night. The book club is at 6:30. The other program starts at 5:30, and it's Healthy Living for Your Brain and Body, and it's the Alzheimer's Association putting that one on. And so that will be in the Felker Room, and that, again, starts at 5:30. They're going to be talking about caregiver stress and diet and exercise, those types of things that what we can do to kind of maybe stave it off or soften the impact of Alzheimer's. We also have book club, and that's going to be meeting on March 30th at 6:30 p.m. and they're reading a book, Amy Bloom's book called Away. That's if you want to be part of the discussion, you can just show up. That's fine. And it's always better to be part of the discussion if you've read the book, but if you haven't and you just want to listen to the discussion and decide whether you want to read the book, you can do that. So that's at 6:30. And then on the 7th of March, the Friends of the Library have their event. They call it Timeless Tales, and it's a celebration of literature and music and good eats. They start by choosing a theme, and this year they chose people who make a difference. So it's going to be about those people within a community that make it a better place to live. That will be at 7 p.m. at the 2nd Street Community Center, and it is a Friends of the Library event. They do charge for the event. It's $8 at the door, $5 for students of any type. You show your student ID and you can get in for $5. So we have community readers. They choose pieces of literature that are related to that theme. Then they get readers from the community that have some tie to that particular piece. So if it's about if the piece is about a firefighter, they're going to find a firefighter to read. If it's doctor or lawyer, maybe a nurse, they invite those folks to do the reading. And it's amazing the talent we have in this community. So it's not just okay, I'm reading. There's some energy behind the reading. And then it's interspersed with music by local musicians. They choose music that relates to the reading itself or to the theme. And then, there might be a couple of readings and then some music interspersed and back and forth. Generally, the readings last hour to an hour and a half, and then there's kind of a social hour afterward with refreshments. And those Friends of the Library bakers are amazing. So it's always a nice finish to the night. We have ongoing programs and times when the library goes out to the community. We'll be at the cultural fair. So come by, stop at the booth. If you haven't met Maida Hess, she'll be there in the afternoon. I'll be there in the morning. So we'll be at the cultural fair, but we also are going to be at an event at the YMCA on March 7th. And so it's a Healthy Kids Day, Active Bodies and Imagination. And so there'll be a library table at that event as well. So, you know, if you want to see us someplace else, come to visit in other parts of the community. We have our regular story times on Mondays and on Fridays at 10 a.m. There'll be a special story time on Saturday the 7th, and Murray's going to be focusing on Pete the cat. And so if you've got kids that have been in grade school or heading towards it soon, they'll know Pete, and it'll be just focused on Pete the cat. We have our ongoing Tuesday nights at the library. Those all start at 6 o'clock, and they're in the Adler Room. So we have the first one is on the 3rd of March. It's a movie night. On the 10th, we have a family craft night. On the 17th, it's a Lego night. We had 35 people at Lego night just recently, and they were having a ball. And then Codebusters is on the 24th, and that's the computer programming, or I should say the Ozobot programming. And then the 31st, they're finishing up with they're calling it Crazy Kite Craft. So they'll be putting together kites.
We have a lot of stuff in the month of March coming.
Ooh, and this isn't even all of it.
And this is not all of it. Let's go back to the 7th. You have
Yes.
A few activities that you talked about. One that's, I believe, happening at the Y. Is that right?
Yes, we're not sponsoring it.
Okay.
We're just going to have a table there. So we're just inviting people to look for us while they're out at that event.
Okay. And then you have a larger event that night with the Friends, and that's at the community center. There is a charge.
Yes.
And do they sign up for this event?
No, we decided a while ago that why bother with the tickets? We'll just do admission at the door. The doors open at 6:30, and admission is $8 for adults, $5 for students.
All right, so they can just come right through. Can they come through the library too? Not sure yet.
I think they'll probably have to come through the community
Through the
center.
community center.
Yeah.
Okay, so they can park right out there. It'll be
Right.
open. And
It'll be in the Drendel room,
Drendel
that
room.
large room
Yep.
with all the wonderful windows.
Yeah, it's a nice
So,
room, and then a place. There'll be a social gathering. You're saying
Yes.
afterwards of the reading. And do you know any of the people that are going to be matched up in the reading yet?
No, I don't. The Friends, this is one of the things, they have a literature committee, they have a committee for readers, they have a committee that does the decorations, and that's always fun too. And then they have a group that does the refreshments. They take care of all of that work on their own, and I get to find out how it's all coming together the Thursday before, because that's when they do the rehearsal. So I won't be able to, if we waited a little longer, I could tell you that, but then no one would know about the program.
That's true. Well, they'll have to go and
Yeah.
see what that's about. Not too expensive, pretty reasonable, and that money kind of helps also the library,
It
right?
does. They started this as really, really a celebration of literature. I think of it as like those, old-time literary societies where people would do a reading and they, get kind of serious about something, but then there's humor involved as well. So they always plan to recoup their cost, but they generally make a little bit. And the Friends, anything that the Friends do, what money they raise then comes back and benefits the library. They also have a book sale coming up in April, and the funds from that come back and they help us carry out kids programs, or they just voted to, I wish I could remember the exact name of a kit, but it's in the STEM category, and it's marble runs and things like that. So the kids can create like a Rube Goldberg type of contraption, and then they get to run the marbles through it and things like that. So, things like that just kind of enrich the offerings that we're able to give to the community.
And the Friends are different than the regular library board, is that correct?
They absolutely
Okay.
are. It's
So
separate organization altogether.
Okay, but they help the library out.
Yeah.
And raise money for some activities, even even Lego night, some of those kind of
Sometimes they were the ones that purchased the Ozobot that go with the coding night.
Okay.
And so they were the ones that did the initial purchase of Legos. So,
And if someone interested in wanting to be a part of that, what do they need to do?
okay. Well, the Friends, in fact, they just put out a newsletter, and in it is a letter that invites people to become a member. So we've got extras at the library, so that they can, fill out the form, and it only costs $5 to be a friend. The Friends of the Library. So they have a friend, a good friend, and a best friend, and different levels of membership. But this one is just to be a good friend. All it takes is $5.
Yeah, definitely. And is there any other things, events that are just for the friends that you might have, or is that not really? It's just kind of more to build the library and for the entire community.
It's really a support builder. But if people want to get involved, there's an opportunity for them to note where they might want to volunteer, things that they might want to help with. If they want to help with Timeless Tales, if they want to help with the book sales, if they want to help with some of the other activities, there's a kind of a checkoff on the form, and they can let people know what they're interested in.
So volunteers are an important part to the library.
They absolutely are. And if they're interested in being a member of the board itself, they can make that note at the Friends book.
Lori, when you're talking about boards, we were talking about the Friends of Library Board. There's also another board that is part of the library. Can you explain a little bit about that?
Sure. There is a library board of trustees. It's a city-appointed, a mayor-appointed board that's approved by the Common Council. And so they are actually the ones that set the policy, and they fulfill all the statutory requirements that are necessary for us to have a public library in Wisconsin. And so they're my boss. They answer to the community. The Common Council appoints them, and then pretty much they run the library. So it's a pretty important role to have. We have been really blessed with good board members, people who have a real concern for the entire community. They aren't looking at just one segment, that they're serving one segment. They're looking at everybody, and that's really important to have.
Okay, and you have those monthly.
They meet
I shouldn't
monthly.
say you, but you're probably there at times that needed to be to answer questions and probably provide a report to them as well.
They meet the third Tuesday of the month at 7 a.m. And they meet in the atrium, so that because they meet so early, the library proper isn't open, and so we meet there so that everyone has a chance to attend those meetings, and so it keeps us all of our meetings open to the public. Very important thing to do. 7 a.m., not a favorite time for everybody, but the fact that we've got a number of business people on the board, we accommodate, when it's easiest for them to meet.
All right.
So,
any other topics that you wanted to bring up for the month of March? I know we went through
Sure.
quite a bit, and anyone can watch this on our YouTube channel and review it.
we've got one more, I think, really important program coming up, and that's a discussion of a book called Wing Shooters. Book is by Nina Revoir, and Julie Tharp will be leading that discussion. Wing Shooters is it's a novel set in a community called Deer Haven. But if you read through this book, it's very much like Marshfield. It's set in the 1970s, just after, at around the time of Vietnam, and also it's told through the eyes of a Japanese American girl who comes to live in Marshfield for a time. Her father was from Marshfield, and mother is Japanese, and she lives here for a time, lives with her grandparents. Dad leaves, she's living with her grandparents, and she talks about what that experience is like to be someone who is not from Marshfield, that grew up here forever and is different, and she goes through some tough experiences. On the other hand, she talks about just the love of nature and what it's like to be in this community, love for her grandfather, and her grandfather's love for her, even though he's a person that is quite prejudiced, and he seems to have a disconnect. This is his granddaughter, and none of that should touch her. But on the other hand, he's got these other feelings, and so she spends some time. She's telling it as an adult, but as her remembrance of being a child in the community. As I said, it's a novel, but she touches on some pretty serious topics, and I think it's going to be a really good discussion. We've grown and changed as a community since that time, and have what's changed, what hasn't, where can we go from here? And so I think it's going to be a really good discussion. So that's Wing Shooters. We have copies of the book to be borrowed at the library. There are some out in the community that we've given to people and said, okay, read it, pass it on, come to the discussion. The book club, the library book club read it in January, and I'm hoping some of them will show up for this discussion as well. But that's Wednesday, March 25th at 6:30, and Julie Tharp will be leading that discussion.
All right. Well, that'll be interesting to hear about. And if they still want to read it, they have plenty of time. They'll almost have most of the month of March.
Oh yeah, and
Is it a long book or?
Oh, I'd say no. It's not a terribly long book. Oh, maybe 200 pages.
Okay.
But there are parts of it where you're like, okay, I want to see what's the next thing happening here. It's got some good suspense in it.
Yeah, it keeps you engaged, and it sounds visual. Painting a lot of visual pieces to the book. So, all right. Well, they marked their calendars the 25th. Again, it's free. Is that right?
Absolutely free.
These are always free.
Always
These
free.
events, they're paid for by the libraries.
The difference with the Friends of the Library event is it's a friend-sponsored event.
And this one is not.
This one is not, and they help us carry out
Exactly.
the events that
Oh yeah, definitely.
stay free.
Yep, there's a reason, a little bit different, but they provide a lot of these services. So, well, mark it the 25th. That is on a Wednesday at 6:30 during the evening. So, hopefully people can attend for a few hours. And
Yeah, I would think no more than 2. Yeah.
yeah. All right. Any other activities? I know there's more, but we'll probably be out of time. But if there's one that we really got to mention, why not?
I'll tell you, we're partnering again with the Personal Development Center to offer an after-school program on Mondays for, I'd say, middle school and upper elementary school students. It's called MARSH, and it stands for Mentors Are Really Supportive and Helpful. It's such a long one for me. So mentors are really supportive and helpful, and they come Monday afternoons. They have topics that they generally carry throughout the month. March is going to focus on stereotypes. There'll be snacks, and there are some prizes for attendance. If there are questions, they can call Bethany at the Personal Development Center, and her number is 715-384-2971. A good opportunity for kids to explore some difficult topics.
Yeah, definitely. And I'll leave it with this one last question I have, and a lot of times libraries are resources to go to. Anything with taxes, since it's tax time?
We have all the tax forms they would send us. That's been changing over the years. We used to have tables full of them, and now they send us just the most basic forms. And at the moment, we still have forms and we still have the instruction booklets. We do ask that people take just one of the booklets, because the more you take, the less there are for other people. And the state and the federal government just are not sharing those as much. They really want people to do them online. So in addition to having the forms and the booklets, we do have the internet, so that if people want to do their taxes online, they can use our equipment to do that. They can either use a laptop and take it off into one of the study rooms if they choose to, or they can use one of the public computers to do that.
And it's all secure in the library. You guys have a secure network, so and they have laptops. I didn't know you had all these laptops.
We have
That's
laptops,
neat.
yeah.
1 or 2 or 3?
We've got 10.
Wow. So they can
got
take
10.
that and read a book online if they want.
They
as well?
can, but we don't let them leave the library.
Yeah, definitely. But they just come to the front desk if they want something.
Actually, that's up on the second floor.
Up on the second floor. Well, maybe sometime we'll take a look at what that looks
There you
like
go. Yeah, we can
and get one of those.
do an off-site, a field visit.
We should. I think that's going to be in the works coming up
Okay.
before you retire.
Oh
here.
boy.
We'll try.
Not too long.
Yeah, no, not too long. So, well, thanks, Lori, so much for all this information. I really appreciate you coming by and sharing this with myself, our viewers. I think they really definitely appreciate it. That don't get on the internet all the time to see what's going on, but love to come to the library.
Well, we like the opportunity to let people know what's going on.
Yeah, that's what it's all about. We don't want you don't want to be the only one over there, and
That's right.
not, and that's not true. That is a very busy place,
It is.
and a great place to meet new friends and hang out during the day. And you're not kicking anyone out. It's a place to have coffee as well, and they have that at times.
3 mornings a week,
in the
yep.
mornings. So, all right. Well, thanks, Lori, for coming by. And I want to thank you guys for watching, and we need a name to this program. We're not going to call it Connections anymore. We're going to have its own program with the library, and we'll do this once a month, and we will see where it goes. When we have a new library director in a few months, but we need a name. So you need to give us a call or let Lori know, or let someone at the library that you're watching this show, and you have a name that you'd like to provide us. Otherwise, call 715-486-2070 is my number. The main line to our studio is 715-207-0379. Or you can call David, my colleague, 715-486-2071, and he's the communications specialist. Give us a name, and we will bring it back on the show, and I'll have probably Lori decide on that. Yeah.
Maybe you should have the new director decide.
Well, I think we'll leave it with Lori.
Oh, okay.
We'll see what happens. But we got to get names, so please engage. You can email it to me as well, tom.laux@ci.marshfield.wi.us. I know that's long. Or communications@ci.marshfield.wi.us, and both David and myself get that email. Thanks again for joining me. I'm Tom Laux, Communications Director for the City of Marshfield.